Hey everybody, thanks for being with us again today. We're going to have a presentation by one of our preferred suppliers, CIE Tours. CIE is a specialist in Ireland, but they also do tours to Britain, which would include Scotland and England and Northern Ireland. They do some tours to Iceland, to Italy. And some of the things that we really like about CIE is they have guided tours, they have small group tours, they have a luxury collection, a family collection, they do self-drive, and then they can even do customized itineraries. So if you have something
is one of her delights for touring the Great Britain, but particularly Ireland and Scotland. And if this is your first plan to go to Ireland and Scotland, do know that it's as green and lush and verdant as everything that you've ever seen. I have Scottish or Irish or English, depending on what heritage I look at, blood in my history, and you may have had this happen to you before, that you went somewhere and felt like that you were home. And I had that exact sensation when we went to Scotland some years ago. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Chris Barnikel, you're on.
Thanks, Charlie. And thanks everybody for taking time out of your day to come and learn a little bit about CIE Tours and get to know Scotland, Ireland, England, and Wales, so that hopefully when the time comes, if Ireland and these other areas are not on your bucket list, they should be. So we'll be there, and Just Cruisin Plus will be there to help you as well. As Charlie mentioned and Sherrie mentioned, you know, we are Ireland. The bulk of what we're doing is Ireland. We're called a niche tour operator, but we're going to talk about Scotland, England, and Wales as well. So kind of like Just Cruisin Plus, you're going to get Ireland today of an addition for you. One of the questions I'm always asked when we do these type of presentations is CIE. What does that stand for? Does it stand for anything? And it is. It's an acronym for a Gaelic term called Chorus Umper Erin. And when you translate that, it translates back into English for the Irish transport system. So we are actually under the umbrella of the Irish government. So when you travel with us to Ireland, you'll see the public buses are called Bus Erin. You'll see a similar type logo than the one you see in the upper left-hand corner at this point. And then the trains are also part of the operation as well. So we have 3 sister companies all under the CIE Tours under that umbrella. Just to let you know what you're looking at right there as we speak, that's called Faned Head Lighthouse. It is usually voted one of the prettiest lighthouses in the world. It's in Donegal over on the west coast of Ireland. And it's one of the places you can visit while you're over in Ireland. And before we start, I do want to just wish you Chéad Míle Fáilte, and that means 100,000 welcomes in Gaelic. And I think just starting the presentation with that is kind of setting the groundwork for the type of welcome you'll get in Ireland. Continuously, the Irish folks are known for their warm welcome that they give the visitors to their island. They welcome you with open arms, and you'll be able to experience that when you go to Ireland. Our company, as I said, we've been around. We are a niche operator, expanding a little bit, but next year, 21, is going to be our 89th year in business. And these are even hiding behind us of some of the posters and brochure covers that we've had in the past. Some of them are real nice. I'm actually going to take 1 or 2 and get them printed and then framed. So, but just to give you a little idea of what the history is all about. During those 87 of those years, we were doing Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. And then just 2 years ago, we added Iceland and Italy to the mix, simply as a result of folks that had traveled with us asking, where else do you go? And our answer for 87 years had been Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. So what we did is we've expanded it to to Iceland and Italy, one a very up-and-coming destination and one that's been around pretty much since Moses' time. So a little geography lesson here for you. This is kind of dictated to us by, this is some of the ways that Tourism Ireland is marketing the island. They break it into different regions. Ireland's ancient east is on the east coast there, of which Dublin is a part. Then we go over to the west coast for Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way. So that goes all the way from Cork and then up to Donegal up in the northwest. And then you have Northern Ireland. Now, Ireland is about the size of Indiana, just to give you an idea of what the size of the country is. And it's actually composed of two countries. There's the Republic of Ireland, which is part of the EU and has the euro as their form of currency. And then Northern Ireland is part of the UK, pound sterling, as far as their currency is concerned. But what's nice is that there is no hard border between the two. So if you're taking in both Ireland and Northern Ireland in that same trip, it's seamless, as if you're going from one state to another here in the US, is how you're going from Northern Ireland to the Republic on your trips. So very seamless. And just some pictures. This is in Dublin. It splits it's over the River Liffey, which is the river in Dublin. It splits the city north-south, and it was called the Halfpenny Bridge because it used to cost a half a penny to cross the bridge. So they've kind of taken the play on that. This is the picture of the Temple Bar area in Dublin. This is the nightlife section. So you may want to, when you visit and are in Dublin for an extra night or two, you can go and enjoy the Temple Bar area. Now this is Guinness Storehouse. Ireland, of course, is noted for Guinness. You can visit this independently. It's on many of our tours. It's also part of a hop-on, hop-off pass we make available to you. Part of the great things of visiting Guinness is that on the top of their building is what is called the gravity bar. So you go up and have a nice cold pint of Guinness up there and get a nice view of the city. However, I'm a Smittix man, so I gotta put that in the presentation. They have a brewery out in Kilkenny. So Guinness is a heavier beer, and again, you'll have a couple while you're there, but I just had to include my favorite in there, my beer of choice when I'm over in Ireland. Now this is out in Slayhead, a nice picture of Slayhead. This is out on the western end of the Dingle Peninsula in the southwest area of Ireland. When you travel with us on our guided vacations, you will always have a part of at least a half a day or sometimes a full day tour of either the Dingle Peninsula like you see here or the Ring of Kerry. And this is St. Finian's Bay here. So this is the day that is dedicated to either or. Is very much a picture-taking day. There'll be frequent stops along the way. So you'll be have an opportunity to get all those in. You may have lunch out on the ring. Sometimes we have lunch included on the ring. But just a beautiful, beautiful day and frequent stops. Again, going back to the size of the country, with it being about the size of Indiana, you're not going to have hours-long drives when you're visiting Ireland. This is the cliffs of Ireland. You're going to go to the cliffs of Moher. When you do that, all of our tours will visit it. It runs for about 5 miles or so. The high point is about 700 feet. And I've been to it a number of times, and what really stood out amongst other things was that there is literally nothing to prevent you from going to the edge other than this little green rope. I don't recommend going to the edge, but that struck me the first time I went there. But it is a must-see when you go, and as I said, it's on the west coast of Ireland. It's including in all of our guided vacations, and should you do something independently, this would be on your list as well. And just another view for that as well. I've been there on days when it has been crystal clear like this. I have been there when I was there last October. It was a little on the cloudy side, but literally it was breezy. You waited about 5 minutes, and while you weren't able to see all the way to the end, you still saw probably a good 2 miles of the cliff. So just sit and wait. The weather will change. Well, I have not been here yet. I was supposed to go to Ireland this year with my kids, but unfortunately because of the virus and the change of plans, I wasn't able to go. But this is a still habited. About 40 or so nuns live there, but you get to view the abbey itself. The grounds are absolutely beautiful, I'm told. And it's included again on many of our guided vacations, but also you can visit it independently as well. Now we're heading up to Northern Ireland. So this is an area called Giant's Causeway. And what those are columns that have risen out of the sea over the period of literally millions of years. This is a UNESCO site, the United Nations Environmental, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And what they do is they designate sites throughout the world that are historically or culturally or socially significant to the region. There are a number in Ireland, and the Giant's Causeway is one of those. This is just a small piece of what you'll see. There are columns that are do the pictures. There is a visitor center there, and what they'll do, they'll take you. There's a little shuttle that takes you down to the columns, and that will take you back up as well when you're done. So no concern as far as the walking on that one. This is the Carrick-a-Reed rope bridge. This too is in Northern Ireland. It was built 375 years ago. I'm sure they've upgraded the rope since that point in time. But it was built, as I said, about 375 years ago by the fishermen in the area. They thought that the fishing was better on the other side. So they made this bridge so that they could access to the far side there and get their fishing in. This is Dunluce Castle. Very, very impressive. You can see as far as the location is concerned. It was started in about the 13th century or so. And as you can see by its, just by its location, the strategicness of why it was put there. You know, you're protected pretty much on 3 sides just because of the cliffs themselves. But up in Northern Ireland, so this is a great stop for you as well. This was also, it was used for Game of Thrones, I am told. I'm not a Game of Thrones person, but I'm told that this was used during the filming of Game of Thrones. So that may be something for the Thronies out there that maybe want to take a peek at this. Continuing in Northern Ireland, so now we're in Belfast, and this is Titanic Belfast. Now this has quickly become one of the most popular visits. It was built in 2012, so that was to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the ship. And it is built right on the grounds where the ship was built. And as you can see, I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but that is supposed to be the ship heading out towards you. And the inside is, it's a great visit, as I said. It talks about Belfast back in the day when the ship was being built, what went into the construction of the ship. And as I said, it's a great, great visit. Now to keep on the theme, this is Cove. So we're back in the Republic now. Wonderful little village that we include on a number of our tours, but again, available to visit independently. And its claim to fame is that it was the last port of call of the Titanic before it headed over to the States. So everything is going to, not everything, but there's going to be definitely a Titanic feel to your visit while you're there. I'm sure the gift shops will have different Titanic memorabilia for you to purchase, but it's a nice walking town as well, as you can see just by the layout. And I'm only going to include one hotel. This is it. This is Adair Manor. It's a 5-star property. It was just refurbished, I want to say, maybe 2 years or so ago. Has a beautiful golf course to it, but they just threw a ton of money into the refurbishment. So if you can put this in the mix, and the village itself, I've been to Adair. I was in Adair last year for the first time. Didn't get to see the property, but what I did get to see, we have a new tour next year We actually were running it this year as well. It's a hub and spoke tour. It's called our Ireland South Day Tripper, in which you, instead of traveling all over the place, you're going to Adair and you're going to spend 5 nights in Adair and then travel out for day excursions and come back into Adair again. So you get the charm of the property, the one of the village, I should say, and then the property is literally right next door to Adair Manor. So it's very centrally located, but it's not a huge village anyhow. So great property, great town to visit. And then we talk about our Irish roots. I can tell you, when you go to Ireland, you'll see sheep. Maybe 1 or 2 while you're there. And then the picture on the left there, that is, in Ireland and in Scotland, we do just about on almost all of the tours a sheep herding demonstration, which I'll be quite honest with you, the first time I went to Ireland, I saw a sheep herding demonstration, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit. But I can tell you, it is super cool and super interesting. This was the first saw, and there was a team of about 4 or 5 dogs. One was definitely the alpha dog. And I just remember he was there, hey, I'm going to put him in the upper left-hand corner now. And just by a series of clicks and whistles, he got those dogs to put the sheep up into the corner. It was really quite interesting to see. They are all very, very well trained, of course, but there's always one in every group. So this guy's kind of like the JV. So he's working on his way to get up to the varsity, but someday he too will be one of the team. Now we're going to go over to Scotland. That's the background was the Isle of Skye, and 2 of their kind of claims to fame. But you know, on the right, you have a Scottish bagpiper. There is a difference between the Scottish bagpipe and the Irish bagpipe. And depending on if you're talking to an Englishman or a Scottishman, they'll tell you which bagpipe is better. And then you will see sheep in Scotland as well. Now, these guys on the left, I'm told this picture was taken on a Sunday morning. These guys woke up and said, what the heck did we do last night? So they went out and got sheep tattoos the previous night. So they told stories when they came home. So while you're in Scotland, Edinburgh is definitely going to be a visit for you. It is the capital of Scotland. When you're on a guided vacation with us, it's either the starting or the end point of the trip, or again, you have the opportunity to visit independently. And as you can see, smack in the middle there in the distance, that is Edinburgh Castle, a must visit while you're there. And if at all possible, go in August, because there's this wonderful event called the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. It is held right on the esplanade of the castle itself. I was very lucky. I joined this company in July. They sent me over in August, and this was what was included on my trip. That's when I made the decision, hey, I think I'm gonna like it here. Once a year event, it happens for 3 weeks or so. The exact dates may change from year to year. And what they do, they build those stands just for this event. It holds about 5,000 or 6,000 people. It sells out every night. The night I was there, when I say there was not an empty seat in the house, there was not an empty seat in the house. And what they do is they invite bands from around the world to play there. They're not all bagpipe bands. There was a group from Mexico. There was a group from South Korea. There was a group from New Zealand. They had motorcycle tricks. There were girls out there dancing. It's about an hour and a half long, just perfect as far as the duration is concerned. They project images on the castle throughout the show. There is a very memorable end, which I'm not going to tell you about, just in case you do get an opportunity to see it. But included in that closing is a wonderful fireworks display as well. So again, and what's nice about it is that all of our tours that are in Edinburgh during that time frame include tickets to this great event. And then you may leave, head a little bit north up to the Scottish Highlands, and this is how it looks. Our coach was just that little coach going down the road, and these big mountains just rise out of nowhere right next to the coach. Very, very picturesque. And similar to the Game of Thrones over at Dunluce, there are places we go to that were used on Outlander, and my knowledge level on Outlander is about the same as Game of Thrones, so I couldn't tell you where we go, just that we go. And this is Urquhart Castle. This is right on the banks of Loch Ness. It's really, really neat. Just the presentation, when you go in, they have a visitor center where you learn about the history of the castle, and then you go down and look at it, and then you also have the opportunity, as I said, some of our tours, but definitely as an independent, maybe take a little tour of look who it is, and the legend continues. But it's a great stop for you while you're there. And this is Scotta Brae. So this is up in the Orkney Islands, so the very northernmost my old cruise line's coming back, islands of Scotland. You actually take a ferry over there. Scotta Brae is a Neolithic village 5,000 years old. So it is actually older than the pyramids. We have a tour called the Scottish Isles and Glens that goes over there, and we actually spend 2 nights. There's not too many tours that spend nights over there, but it's a great visit. And then this is beautiful Inverary Castle in the center of Scotland. And then, of course, St. Andrews, the iconic 18th fairway coming up with the bridge there. When I was there, it was funny because guys were golfing from left to right, and they'd tee off, and then we would run out to the bridge and get into the classic, bridge, leg up on the bridge and get your picture taken. And there were people lined up all along that little white fence over there to do that. So great little memory for me. And then if we travel down into London, the iconic double-decker buses, travel through the Lake District, the beautiful, you're up a little farther north than London at this point in time, the beautiful Lake Districts of London. And then the Canterbury Cathedral. This has been around almost since about the year 600. It was built when Pope Gregory sent St. Augustine down to convert the folks. And this was built around that time, not to its present shape here, obviously, but the building of it started back at the 600 AD. So it's an absolutely beautiful cathedral for you to visit while you're in England. And the classic Stonehenge is there for you as well. Just recently, I remember reading something, I think just very close there, they found another circle. It was interesting when I went there for the first time, and you're driving down that road, which is right behind it, and boom, there it is over on your right-hand side. It kind of comes out of nowhere, and there it is. You're not permitted to go up to the stones as you used to be in the old days, but it's still a very, very memorable visit for you. And this is Land's End. So this is way out on the southwest coast of England. So another very unique way for you to experience the country. And then there's Bath. Definitely one of my favorite places I've ever been. Bath was the playground of the Romans back in the day. So they had the baths where they went and they relaxed and whatnot. The town itself is just wonderful. And there is a self-guided tour there. So you have the little talking to you, telling you about the history. It's one of the best self-guided tours I've ever taken. I've been there twice. Each time was memorable. So if you can go and visit that, I would recommend it. And we have similar, we mentioned about that tour in Ireland where it's a hub and spoke. We have a similar tour in using London as your base. And one of the visits is to go out to Bath for the day. So great, great, great place to visit. Now, if I remember correctly, we have a brief little video here from one of our guides. We'll keep our fingers and see if it works. If not, we'll just go on.
Hello there, my name is John Cunningham.
Can you hear it?
I'm a tour manager with CIE, and here we are in beautiful, beautiful Bath on a fabulous October lunchtime. I do all of the CIE tours. The particular ones that come here include the highlights of Britain, the grandeur, the grand tour, the heart of Wales. We all come here to Bath. It's superb. We would love to bring you here as well, and you can just enjoy the ambience of the Roman city, the Roman baths. Great shopping, and everything that Britain has to offer is right here in this beautiful city.
That go around. He was our guide. He did a great job. And now we're over to Wales, and this is called Cavernan Castle. It's very, very well kept. Well, if you are a castle person, Wales is the place for you to go. There are more than 600 castles in the country. There are more castles per square mile than any other country in the world. So if you are into castles, you may want to include Wales in the mix. This is the South Stack Lighthouse on the coast. Very, very pretty picture. And then this, I have to write my notes here, it's the Shin Padane Lake. So this is up in the Snowdonia Mountains of Wales. It was formed by the glaciers as the glacier receded. But up in the Snowdonia region, as you can see, absolutely beautiful. And you may want to put that into the mix should you go to the area. So why you should travel with us, as I mentioned, we've been around since 1932. We have the highest customer satisfaction rating. This is not something that we are just pulling out of air, because what we do at the end of each of our guided vacations, we ask you to fill out a questionnaire. And we ask you to rate everything from the greeting at the airport to the visits, the hotels, the meals, and the guide. And then we turn those into your tour guide, who turns them in and makes its way to our office in Dublin. And then we see what the customer satisfaction rating is. And we come out with the highest. One of the things we use these for too is a customer service, quality control. So we make sure that the people, our partners, are up to snuff. But we also use it to possibly tweak our itineraries from year to year. So if we see continuous statements of we're spending too much time or too little time on a place, we'll tweak the itinerary accordingly. We also have no optional extras, which I'll talk to you about on the next slide. Our guides are locally based. If you've ever taken a guided vacation before, you know the guide can make or break your tour. And all of our guides are local, so they are eager to share the history of their country, tell their stories, maybe sing a song or two. I'm sure a joke will be in there as well. So we have some of the best guides in the industry. We've got a variety of tours for you to choose from, as well as independent programs, which I'll talk about in just a bit. And then we are an award-winning niche tour operator. So whether it's from folks like Travel Leaders, which is a consortia group in the travel industry, or business partners in Scotland, we continually get highest ratings and win awards. Now, one of the things that makes it special is that all-inclusive advantage. And what this talks about is the fact that when you're on tour with us, our guides do not try to sell you any optional extras. As I said, we've been at this for 89 years. We know where to go and we include it in the tour. So what that means for you is that you're getting a great value for your vacation dollar. Plus, you don't feel like you're getting nickeled and down while you're on the tour. You get on the coach with us in the morning, and so it really enables us to attract the best guides. I remember our trip, the guide was Dennis, short little guy, I remember him, and he was telling us that this feature is why the best guides like working for CIE, because in his exact words, we're not salespeople. He said, when I don't have to worry about selling, I do a better job. I like to say their job is to educate and entertain while they're on tour, and the fact that they don't have to sell enables them to do so. So what you'll see too, in a number of the cities where we visit, you may have a local guide bring you around. So in Galway, not necessarily in Killarney, but up in Derry, but a number of different cities, we'll bring a local person in and they'll come in and do a guided walking tour for you. So your guide on the coach will hand it over to somebody local that can get really deep into the history of the town. That's our coaches right there and two of our guides. This is the inside of our coach here. They are all no more than 3 years old. They have Wi-Fi on the coach. There's a bathroom on the coach for emergency purposes only, as we like to say, because again, frequent stops, but it's there if it's absolutely necessary. So the ways to travel with us, guided vacations is one of the most popular ways. So you're traveling with that. you're traveling with other people on that same itinerary. We also do a ton of groups at CIE Tours. 10 people is a group with us, and I'll go and review that with you and see different ways you may be able to use that. We also have a private driver program. So this is 1 to 9 people, where it's just your party that is traveling together. And then we've also got independent adventures. So this would be where you are driving yourself around. But we'll review those right now. The number of tours that we have to offer you, a total of 35 when you include Italy and Iceland in the mix. I'll be quite honest with you, this is half of what we normally have. But because of the virus and the unknown for next year, how things will sell, we've cut it down, but this is probably 80, it's the old 80-20 rule. So you still have 18 tours in Ireland to choose from 4 to 14 nights, staying in the Republic, doing the whole country, slow pace, it's all there for you. And then as you can see, the rest of the way for Scotland and the combination tours with Scotland and Ireland. And that Scotland and Ireland column is one of our most popular tours called The Taste of Scotland and Ireland, in which you're doing 4 nights over in Scotland, ferrying over to Ireland, and then doing the Republic after that. Very, very popular tour. So on our coaches, for next year, we're still waiting, all of the operators that are doing Ireland are still waiting for a number from the Irish government. But about 80% of our tours are currently scheduled to have a maximum of 26, using the same coach that you see behind there. So there'll be spacing on the coach when you get on there as well. So we're still waiting for the official number on that. The private driver is available in Ireland and Britain, and this is 100% customizable. So you can come to the folks at Just Cruisin Plus with a general idea of, okay, we want X amount of days here. You may have specific properties you want to work with. You may have particular visits because your pastor told you to go to this particular place, or your family is from a particular region, but it's 100% customizable. And we'll go back and forth with Sherrie and her team to put together an itinerary that's within your budget and visits the places that you want to be. So it's it's a way, if you have any concerns about the COVID situation, here's a way that you can go and experience Ireland and still, feel safe and traveling with just your friends and family. And that person is a driver guide. He's not just a chauffeur taking you from point A to point B. You'll be getting commentary throughout the trip. Now, the independent adventures, this is available just in Ireland. So this has the old term, we change it all the time, the fly drive. So this is where you are booking your air and your properties with us. Those properties can be B&Bs. You can put in a traditional hotel. You can throw in castle stay here or there. And then you are taking yourself around from place to place. One of the things that we're doing for 2021 is that we are going to make all of our regularly scheduled Ireland tours available as a self-drive. So the itinerary is already set, the hotels are already selected, the difference being you don't have the driver and the commentary, you're just taking yourself from place to place. Now on the group side of things, just real quickly on this, as I said, 10 people is a group with us. So you can come and join just a regularly scheduled tours. But that private group vacations, this is one I wanted to cover a little bit more. And what that means on the private group vacations, for as little as 10 people, you can take one of our regularly scheduled itineraries and make it a private tour. So the price point is lower. If maybe you don't have the funds to do a custom tour, you can take a brochure tour and make it private for just 10 people. So the vehicle that you have will be dictated by the amount of people that are in your group, and the cost will be as well. So depending on, it's tiered, so the more people you'll have, the lower your per person cost is. But it's a great way. Let's say you want to take the grandkids and your kids out. There's 16 of you. You love the Irish adventure. You want to do it. We can make that a private tour for you. And then the private custom groups is kind of like the private driver on steroids. Pretty much once you hit 10, it goes from the private driver desk over to the custom group desk. Same level of service, 100% customizable, and we'll work it to make it fit your budget. Just want to we're known for our documents. Travel agents love us for our documents, so everybody in the party gets this. You get a wonderful little backpack there. There's a document holder behind Sherrie and Charlie. There is a rain poncho for if the off chance it rains when you're in Ireland. I can't see that happening, but you never know. And then we have the luggage strap. We've updated the baggage tags, and we added about 2 years or so ago, we added the international adapters. So you don't have to run to the store and have something to charge your phone. And it works everywhere. I've used it in England, I've used it in Ireland, and I've used it in Iceland. So it definitely works, and a nice little extra for you. Now, what we're doing with the coronavirus situation, we are very on top of this. We're not putting our head in the sands on this, but just to let you know what we're doing, we're not starting travel again until next year. But what we are doing, we're keeping folks like the Funks up to speed on the different things that are going on with us as far as making travel safe for you. While you're on the coach, as I mentioned, small group departures. And then in addition to that, the coaches are going to be sanitized while you're doing visit. The driver is going to sanitize the coaches, cleaning continually those frequent touch areas to make sure that they are sanitary for you. Frequent stops, hand sanitizers along the way. The hotels will have their own requirements as far as sanitation is concerned, again, to ensure safety during the trip. Also, the attractions may have some restrictions as well. One that comes to mind for me is Blarney Castle. Blarney Castle, you go up it's an old castle, obviously, and you're going up these stone stairs, and it used to be one person after the other after the other. I'm sure they are probably going to assign, okay, this is your time slot, this is your time slot moving forward. So just an example of what probably is going to change a little bit in the next year. So we have that social distancing in order to keep things safe. And as I said, we're working with the government and our travel partners just to make sure that that your safe is not just enjoyable, but your travel is not just safe, but enjoyable. Now I couldn't leave. I went to Iceland last year. It was just a wow destination for me. I absolutely, positively loved it. I would go back in a heartbeat. This is Gullfoss Waterfall. It is, I remember we got off the coach and I'm hearing this roar and I'm like, what is that noise? And as we walked towards it, and you just came closer to it, and this is what you saw. This is the waterfall. There's over, I forget what the numbers, but there are waterfalls just all over the country. This is the biggest, and there's 2 drops to it, as you can see. You have the ability, as you can see, kind of like at 10 o'clock there, the people, you can go right to the edge of it. Just super, super impressive. This is another one. Don't ask me to pronounce it other than the Foss at the end. But you are able to walk behind this waterfall. So another unique experience there. And then there's the Black Sand Beach. And if I was able to give you a quiz right now, I would say, what does that look like to you? And that would, of course, to be the Giant's Causeway up in Northern Ireland. So the same type of columns that you saw there are also in Iceland as well. And if you travel during the winter months, you have the option of doing the Northern Lights as well. The official season is October through March for the Northern Lights. I was there in the beginning of October. I did not see the Northern Lights, but I was not disappointed, not a single drop. But if seeing the Northern Lights is on your must-see, you may want to go a little deeper into the season in order to experience those. Now we've got a great offer that you're able to take advantage of. We have, and it's not even on our website, so it hasn't even been announced yet. We are offering a 10% discount on most of our 2021 guided vacations. I say most because it is not applicable to any tattoo departures. So any of the tours that includes a tattoo visit, you're not going to be able to use it there. And we also have a very special tour for St. Patrick's Day, in which you stay in Dublin for 5 nights, kind of like that hub and spoke, but it's during St. Patrick's Day, so that's not applicable. But to combine with that, we've also lowered our deposit requirement. It usually is $250 per person. We have lowered it to $99 per person on the guided vacations, and you can combine the two. So a savings for you plus a lower deposit requirement as well. Now this is just a quick video.
Into the phone to see her waters and her hills and all the beauty she beholds, to feel the earth beneath my feet, the warmth against my face, and be welcomed in at every turn into her kind embrace. But alas, for now I'll have to wait to see my true love's form, for we all know that these green lands have weathered tougher storms. The wandering lanes and rugged cliffs, her fields laced with streams, will still be there after I awake, but for now they're in my dreams.
I absolutely love that video. It makes me want to go back to Ireland in just the worst way. But things will get better. We'll be traveling next year, and we hope you join us. So with that,
before we get too far away from it, let me interrupt for a second. What was the name of the waterfall again?
Gulfoss was the one that I could pronounce. But yeah, so Iceland, just absolutely beautiful. But when you're ready to make your plans to the region, to Iceland, to Italy, I didn't do anything on Italy. I figured we might be a little bit tight for time. But when you're doing Scotland or the UK, here's your contact info for Just Cruisin Plus.
I don't know if anyone has any questions or not, but just looking at all this again made me realize how much we enjoyed the time that we've spent in Great Britain and Ireland, and seeing the military tattoo is a once in a lifetime thing that if you're going to go to Scotland, especially, go in August so that you can see the tattoo. Also, you can spend some time in London, and Buckingham Palace happens to be open at that time, where you can actually do some tours of, I think it's 26 of the staterooms they'll allow you to go through. So it's an absolutely gorgeous country to be able to go to. Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales. We've been to all of those. To Italy. The only one that we haven't been to, Chris, is Iceland, and that's on our bucket list. So we really want to go there. That's the next one that we want to do.
Chris, I do have, let me ask again, how do you spell the name of that waterfall, please?
Gullfoss.
G George, U-L-L.
F Frank, O, S Sam, S Sam.
Gulfoss.
Yep.
Okay, Gulfoss.
Well, if no one else has any questions for Chris, then Chris, we just want to thank you for the time that you've spent with us today and for being with us. And if any of you all are interested in Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, Iceland, Italy, any of the places that CIE goes, especially if you've got 10 friends who want to travel together. And I think all of us are so tired of being at home and wanting to get out and travel again. We're all looking forward to 21. Hopefully there's going to be a vaccine so that we can all be back out exploring and visiting all these wonderful sites. Again, thanks, Chris, for being here. Thank you all for being here with us today as well. And thank you again.
Okay.
See you all later.
Thanks, Charlie.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.